Alrighty. Hello, 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 sports fans. Trying to get everything going here. I almost missed my show tonight. I was on the phone talking and I was like, oh crap, it's later than I thought it was. But here I am, never fear. What did I do? Hello, hello, Hugh, how are you? Hugh, how are you? Well, I thought I had something to write on. What did I do with that? Oh, hold on, I'll be right back. Okay. In case something important comes up that I want to remind myself, I better have something I can write a note on. All right. Hello, JS Twitch. Funny talking to you. Almost like I just was talking to you. All right, get everything out of my way here. Yeah, a long time for sure. It is raining cats and dogs here. I didn't realize it was raining so hard until I came upstairs. You can hear the rain hitting the roof. Like, wow. Rain, rain, rain. So, very rainy here too. You want me to call you and bring you into the stream where we can talk live? I think I can still do that. Maybe just the three of us here. Unless I can't figure out what I did with my earbuds. Oh, yeah, well, I may not have any earbuds. I may not be able to. I may not have no way to hear you. I know you just got home. Yeah, I can't. I don't have no earphones. I don't think. I think I've done something with them. So, ixnay that idea. Maybe next week. You guys need to start getting on here again so we can all talk. A lot easier to talk to somebody when I can actually talk to you. I had the buildings here from last week. The dirt texture that I put in there turned out really, really cool. Next week, let's see what we can do next week. We'll try to get some people on here live. Yeah, no, it's cool stuff. It's Vallejo earth texture acrylic. So, I think you can make it. I think there's YouTube videos on how to make a version of it or something, but I'm too lazy. Lazy, lazy me. So where am I at right now with the rules update? It is very close. I really think that I will have it by the end of the month. I'm still tweaking a couple of things and trying to decide on a couple of things. So hang in there. That's kind of where we're at right now. So other than that, we put up the pictures last week of the new models that we're currently trying to get on mold here. We should be able to release a couple of them here by the end of the month. At least 2. I don't know exactly which 2 it'll be, but just how everything ends up going on mold and casting. We've got a couple of contract jobs that I've got to get out of the way too. So. Now, let's see, what's the best thing to chat about? I don't know if I want to go too in depth with every little rule right now. I do know that, I don't know if you've caught it as we go along, the close combat mechanic is going away. It was really not being used that much anyway, and for something that takes up a third of the rules that's not being used, I just felt like that it was probably time for it to move on. So, shoot me some questions. What's some questions that you got, Hugh? We did not get blown away by the tornado, the other deal. Was that the email that you sent me this morning, or was that another email? Yes, the morning. Okay. I briefly looked over it. Right now I'm working on the essays, and so I hadn't come back to it yet to kind of look at rules. So here, this is something that me and James was talking about before the show, and we'll try to get some other input on that or whatever. So one of the things the SA anti-infantry, it's still there. But they work different, which you'll see when I shoot the essays. I don't have it here in front of me, so I can't give you the 100% deal. But anything that was, most of your essays that were close assault orientated, like Aegis and close quarters, stuff like that, all those essays are just gone. There's also some of the equipment things, the ablative armor, the reactive armor, those are gone. What are some other things? I know that a bunch of essays got whittled down. There'll be a couple of new ones that come in. And the vast majority, and they haven't changed other than if there was something like anti-infantry that needed to be adjusted to the way it works. So I think basically anti-infantry, the way it works now is it's the same thing, the same concept, explosive strips, whatnot on the model. But if infantry comes within a certain range, it's a free attack against infantry. with a set RAV. Basically, if infantry come too close, and they have to move towards you, you can't move towards them and use that as a way to attack them. But if they move to a certain range, then you get a free attack against them. No, yeah, you have to still respect minimum ranges. That's the way it was in the rule book. I think. I don't know, I'll have to go back and look at it. But I think you still have to take into, yeah, you can't hit the guy that shot. And they have to be in that direction. You can't put it behind him. So it has to be, if I remember right, because that's the way it was in the rule book, is it has to be within a legitimate area of effect, or his firing arc, and you can't fire further than it's supposed to go or shorter than it's supposed to go. But anywhere else you can put it in there. So one of the issues that we were talking about and is about the parking lot. And I don't know that there's a good way. Yeah, I'm going to talk about range bands here in just a second. That's kind of what this is leading up to. So James played in a game that basically the two of them got close enough to each other that they were getting their best numbers out on each other, and they just stayed next to each other and shot each other. Or if they moved, one moved and then the other one just moved right against him again. And it looked funny on the board. But I don't know that it is. I don't know that that's not an issue in any game. I mean, realistically, in real life, you wouldn't want to, even though you could get right next to each other and get your best numbers. You don't want to do that because you don't want to give him the best numbers, and that's kind of was my argument. No, necessarily my argument. The angle that I came from was how much of it was just because it was better, and how much it was because both sides played that way. I wouldn't play that way. I would always be doing something to try to make sure my numbers were better than his numbers. So me getting up right at each other and us both shooting each other with the same weapons at the same range at the same numbers over and over and over until one of us is dead. I wouldn't play that way. Obviously I have a lot of experience playing Battletech, and I know from playing Battletech, that's how Battletech played. It was, we moved until we got into range. Then you started shooting, and then you moved, and you shot, and you moved, and you shot, and you moved, and then everybody finally got close enough where everybody was trying to backshot one another or got next to each other and was shooting and punching and kicking. And then that's where, if all the models were in that scrum, then that's where it went until somebody was dead. Other games I've watched, I know they talk about Team Yankee turning into a parking lot game. So where that leads into is, how do you fix that, or can you fix it? Because it may be more of the look as opposed to an actual way to play. So you may be trying to make a rule so that maybe the board looks better rather than actually play better. One of the issues too is, trying to come up with a sweet spot. I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm thinking and talking at the same time. Those don't always work out well for me. But talking about range bands. Right. Yeah. I mean, but how can you realistically simulate that in a game without having really some crazy rule? Then now you're talking about playing with, hidden units, and, I don't know that we want CAV to go down that road. Yeah. Well, and that's, that's a playing style as opposed to, you're trying to control so that you have better numbers than he has. I guess that's my point, is I would always try to, I would never get next to one another just so that we both would have the same numbers. I would either keep myself at range and use terrain, or, so I don't know how much of it's playing style or what. Now, right now, the to hit numbers are 6, 7, 8, and 9. The problem that those numbers have had is the fact that from 6 to 9, there's only a 2-number spread. So I can sit back at long range and still have relatively good numbers to hit, and getting closer helps sometimes, but I don't really have to if I don't want to, especially if I've got some good modifiers. If I've got APA running, I don't really need to move that because it's a 2-number spread. So my original, what I had wanted to do with the numbers, and I talked myself out of them back when we were writing Strike Ops, was I wanted the numbers to be 4, 6, 8, and 10, so that it was now, instead of a 2-number, we had a 6-number spread. Okay, big difference now. They're on a 2d6 system. Anything over 2 is a huge spread. So that was kind of my thought to go to those numbers. The problem that I see with that, though, is by using a 4-number, especially if you stack modifiers really good with Salvo, with APA, with Wizzo, with your targeting computers, you very easily can turn that 4 into a 0 or a -2. And that just seems kind of funny, rolling against a number that you can only miss if you roll double ones on. I don't have a problem with that, because in my mind, in CAV, because what you're really rolling against is his armor number. So the to hit number, it's not a matter of we're trying to not keep you from hitting. There's going to be a lot of times that you don't hit, okay? I've played enough games and I see how it goes, and I know that we're talking about best instances. But the perception is just kind of funny, is if I can only miss on double ones. But like I said, what you're really rolling against is his armor. So the higher you can roll against what you actually need to hit, that goes into the damage with the weapon and hopefully gets you over his armor. Because you can roll against a negative, a 0. Let's say you roll a 0 and you roll a 5, and 5 plus, if the weapon's got RAV of 3 or 4, if anybody you're not doing a lot of damage, high end damage. I don't have a problem in CAV for you to be shooting somebody and doing a point of damage to them at least every turn. All right, because the game is not about trying to keep you from not taking any damage whatsoever in the game. You're going to take damage. you want to do more damage to that person before he can out-damage you. So, it's kind of how you want to look at it. But my thought process, thinking today on this, is instead of going 4, 6, 8, and 10, I'm almost thinking about maybe 6, 8, 10, and 12. Because, that's our minimum number right now, and that number's worked really well for the most part, for the low end. But that pushes that long range, that extreme range way up there. And again, it keeps that 6 number spread. It keeps the low number as a 6. So unless you just ultimately stack numbers, very rarely are you going to get it down, to anything lower than a 2 or 3. And that's only if you just stacked everything perfect. But it doesn't change blaster whatsoever. It's still based on your die roll. So it goes back to if you roll a 9, 10, 11, or a 12 for the actual roll, then you get to add another D6 in there. No, to get blaster, you have to roll the natural number. So let's say you need an 11, okay, to hit, and if you roll a 9 with blaster 2, you get to roll another D6 and add that to that number. So at that point, maybe you'll get over that 11. But it's not a matter of what you roll to hit, what your hit number is, what you physically roll. No, it's the natural roll of the dice. So it's not a matter of, and this was something that we've clarified and that we've changed from too, is let's say that you need a 9 to hit, okay? And you've got a +3 mod. So you roll a 6 and you add 3, and now there's a 9 and then you hit, all right? You do not get to roll for blaster. Even though blaster 2 says you did roll a 9, it has to be a natural roll. So that's clarified and fixed in the update. So if you roll a natural roll, you get to roll that D6. That's the way even you can hit with even when you need a 12 or something. Yeah, natural rolls only. Because if you think about it, if we go up to a 12, you're like, oh my God, extreme range 12s, what a horrible number. But very easily with a target lock, Wizzo, and a salvo, you can get that number. You can get that number to an 8 or 9 easy. And you go, oh well, what if the guy doesn't have a Wizzo or a target? Well, that's the differences between the mod. Well, I'm not even going to include APA. Now, something too that somebody asked me about, and I want to make sure is, you know that the bubble for APA, ECM, and EST applies to the enemy model, not to the model that is taking advantage of it. So, like for you, if you're a model and you have EST and you are trying to get a target lock on a model and give that to the rest of your squad, it's not the rest of the squad that has to be in that bubble. It's the enemy model has to be in your bubble. Your guys don't have to be in the bubble because the battle net covers the whole board. So that's something important to remember when you're moving around, because that keeps your recon guys having to keep up with the battle. Because if they don't get up there and work where the battle is, then they're no help. So you can't have a guy on the very back edge of the board standing there trying to throw. Correct. Yeah, and that's all three, APA, ECM, and EST. It works upon the enemy's location in relation to the model that is using it. So anyway, I'm really leaning towards a 6, 8, 10, or 12. What's your thoughts on that? Hi, Fireball Tech. How are you doing? Did you get a good nap today? Well, and I that's not that's yeah. So are you doing are you doing 4 to 12 tonight? But Tiger, is it bad to have a big number, hard to hit at maximum range? Oh, so what time did you start, or were you doing an 8 to 8 or something? Oh, you're doing a double. All right. Well, you need to stop doing doubles. That's pretty rough on you. So I hope that you brought plenty of snacks and are eating dinner like you're supposed to. Or there will be problems. So, all right. ECM and APA both are changing just a little bit. It does not require an action on your part anymore to activate. APA and ECM, they're automatic. The only time that you have to worry about turning one on and one off is if you have both of them. You can't run both of them at the same time. You either have to run APA or you have to run ECM. Now, the caveat with those is that's all APA can do now, is run their APA bubble. They can't jam anybody or nothing. That's all they get to do. I mean, they can shoot and move and everything, but as far as the actual ability, that's all it does. That makes it easier, yes. Well, it makes it so you don't have to decide whether if you don't want to shoot or if you don't want to, I think that when you're a model, if you are a model designed to do that, once you turn it on, it should stay on, and you would think you would turn it on before you went into battle. So there would be the option of turning it off. Is you have that ability, especially if you've got. That's the other thing, is in the past, only APA and ECM models could use harm missiles. Now anybody can use harm missiles if that's what you decide to load. Correct. If you are outside an enemy ECM bubble, then you can target lock. If you're inside his bubble, you cannot. And that's where ECM is. ECM, again, it runs all the time. It jams target locks automatically. There is no in there for about it. So if you're in that bubble and then you're done. An ECM guy jams APA and other ECM on an opposing roll. So the two models, so you can jam APA, but APA can't jam you, because that's not what APA does. Now ECM can jam ECM, but that's all they can do going forward. So test scenario. I don't know. I mean, they're basically doing what they always did. They just don't do some of the extra stuff that they did, and you don't have to spend an action to turn them on. In order to turn your system back on, you have to move outside the area of effect of the model that jammed. So, if an ECM jams an APA and then another ECM model comes in and jams that ECM, then your APA comes back on because you're no longer inside an enemy bubble. But if for you to turn it back on, you have to be outside that bubble to reestablish it. Yeah. It's just a matter of simplifying it. It's just an easier way to go about doing basically the same thing. and something that we're not having to do over and over and over again. So if an ECM jams an ECM, then the only way you can ECM and try to jam him again is you have to get outside his bubble and come back. You want to be careful. Airplanes are still pretty relatively easy to shoot down if you're not careful with them. They can fly nap of Earth and be able to do their stuff, but that really curtails what you can do. Oh, shoot, I got the yawn all of a sudden. Stop that. No yawning. When I get off here, I know we were talking earlier today about the infantry issue. I think I fixed that while I was eating lunch. So I will send you guys a copy of that to look over. So I would do that right after the show. But I think that fixes that problem. Not to mention going up to the higher numbers makes a difference too. So the nice thing about the way that I'm doing this time is we'll put the rules update out there. It's going to be a living document. It's literally we'll put it out there. It's a PDF. You can download it. everybody will be able to use it, play with it, look it over, tell me how stupid this is or how great this is or whatever, and we'll make some adjustments to it. So my plan is, because I want to get it finished, cleaned up, but so that it can go in the rules of engagement. The walls that you did for your desert board, will you offer those for download? Yes, I just haven't had a chance to put them up yet. I'm also redoing some buildings that go more in style with my stuff. I plan on getting a lot more 3D files out. So I have the nice thing about I've played with some other people's files, the way that they've done them, and I am amazed at how horrible that they are done. That's just far from the printing side of things. They have so many holes, so many problems in them. Two groups of buildings that I've downloaded, I ended up having to basically rebuild them from scratch and fix their models. The plan is to have two of them available by the end of the month. So I want to do 2 in May, and then we may try to do all 4 of the other ones in June, because we'll be doing Origins in June, so we want to try to have plenty of new models there. Well, you got your hands full, because the problem is you can't look at it until you download it, until you have the model in place. Now you can look at models that are there and just know that they're not right. A classic example. So a gentleman did a Kickstarter for I think it's bouncing off the walls. And it may be since I'm just talking tonight, I'm probably talking louder. Is that better? Well, the everything's in a different place. I'm not yelling, I'm just talking loud. Like I said, I'm just probably, since I'm not moving around a lot, thinking on other stuff. I've had it turned up so that it was better when I was working on stuff. We really need a new spot to be broadcasting from, and either that or I've got to figure out a way to put up some kind of sound baffles or something. I'm just out of space, James. I did. I turned the gain down, so that should help. James, I'm assuming you weren't here when I was talking earlier to you about it. I'm really leaning towards the 6, 8, 10, and 12. Just a little bit. I mean, basically that it's going away. So the only close combat there'll be is infantry. We'll have that as a special ability. But that's what I told Hugh that after the stream was over that I was going to put it up in the chat for you guys to look over. I think it'd be easier to do it that than try to explain it out right now without you having to look at it. I mean, basically, the hit numbers right now, like I said, are 6, 7, 8, and 9. So, really all you're changing is the back end. Yes, double time has changed. It's no longer an SA. It is anybody can qualify for double time as long as you move 10 inches or more. And those are actual inches. So if you spend 10 movement points to move through 5 inches of light woods, you don't get double time. And you can do that between 2 turns of movement. So if you have a movement of 5 and you move twice for a total of 10 inches, then you have double time for that. I don't think that I don't want I don't want one number spreads. I want a +2 in a 2d6 system is a big deal. So by having 2s apart from each other, it encourages you to move forward rather than sitting back at the back of the edge. Correct. You have to move an actual 10 inches. Because double time is a speed issue. So if you're slowing down to move through trees or whatever, but I mean, that's the trade-off. It's a +2, so you either get the 2 from double times or you get the 2 from woods. You're just not going to have 4. I guess there could be a time when, somebody that's got enough of a move could move into heavy woods at the very end or something like that and get it, but yes. You just have to all you have to do is declare a move action. It's assumed that if you declare a move action, you're actually moving. You're just ending up back where you started. I think that's the simplest way to do it rather than to try to make you actually move and do it. Whether it's you're moving 3 back and 3 forward or making a circle or whatever. It's ridiculous to make you actually do it. So you either do or you don't. Plus, that way it doesn't penalize a model that got knocked down and has to stand up because he had to use a move action to stand up. That way you're not standing up, and if you can't go anywhere, you just get the stationary no matter what. I want the stationary modifier to be a result of you actually choosing to do that. That's a conscious decision that you're making. I hear the keyboards chittering away. They must be getting a long one, getting ready to hit me. Like I said, the rules update is just tweaking things. It is. The next convention is in Kansas City. You going to try to come up? If you'll come up, I'll run a game. They told me I could have a table right next to the booth. Yep. So last weekend of this month, I think, the 21st, 22nd. You'd have to look on, let me look on the forums. I got the dates on there. Oh, upcoming conventions. It is May 20th through the 22nd. Then we're back for a week, and then we go, or 2 weeks, and then we go to Origins in June. Oh, yeah, that might be. Origins is in Columbus. That's June 8th through the 12th. Having met your wife, James, I think that she would want you to come up to Kansas City. The two of you could be there, you play Saturday, you take her out for a nice dinner. Saturday night, you go somewhere special. Sunday, come home. Make a weekend out of it. See, I told you, I haven't met your wife. I knew that. There you go. I'll give you both CAV gift certificates for your celebration. That and $1 will get you a cup of coffee. Then we have, I plan on doing a virtual convention in July. I don't know if they do or not. I can't remember where the farthest White Castle is. It's technically Kansas City, Missouri. It's right next to the Chiefs and where the Chiefs and the Royals play. White Castle, KCMO. No, it looks like maybe the closest one is in Columbia, which is a couple more hours to the east. Oh, in Missouri, not in movie. Let's see, there's one in Maplewood, St. Louis, Kirkwood, Farmington, Festus, St. Louis. Lots in St. Louis, St. Peter's, Fenton, Eureka, High Ridge, St. Louis, Arnold. We're looking here. No, it must not be one in Kansas City. Columbus looks like this far west as they've come. Let's see here. You know, and that's so sad that, White Castle actually started in Wichita. And we don't have one in Kansas. It is Border Wars. Yeah, no, White Castle started in Wichita. But, so I don't remember if they sold to somebody or people broke up. I don't know what the whole story was. But now there's none in Kansas. There's a Best Western that's close to the convention. That's where we're staying at, by the way. If you get to be in Sirius. All right. What else can I cover tonight? We got 6 minutes left. Fireball Tech, did you tell me that you were eating a good dinner and had snacks for tonight? Well, if it makes any difference, I'm just teasing with you. You don't really have to come. There's not a lot of infantry squad changes that I'm aware of. I can't think of off the top of my head. I think the main thing that I'm still kind of on the line about this, but as it stands right now, let's say you're building an infantry squad for the Terrans. You could put in a rifle model, anti-tank model, anti-air model, and have basically 5 different weapon. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that update. Instead, I think that probably going forward that squads need to all be the same thing. So if you buy a squad, all the squad needs to be the same loadout. I think trying to keep track of 5 different, I don't never do that. I mean, if I build an infantry squad, I give them all the same thing. I don't mess with trying to figure this one out or that one out. But I think for the sake of gameplay, I think that all the squads need to be the same, or all the models in the squad need to be the same. You don't need to have 5 different. Yes, there's less bases. Light infantry has light and heavy infantry has to have 6 to 10, and power armor has to have 3 to 5 models. I hear thunder. Let's get ready to go again. My little short drumsticks for my little makeup brushes. But my plan is to have the update up by the end of the month. I'm really trying to push to have it before I leave for Border Wars. And then, like I said, it's for the next couple of months, it's going to be more of a living document. We'll tweak it. Any new CAV paints? There's like 10. I'm just waiting to get them. Thank you for reminding me. I will send a reminder tomorrow to see where my paint is. Once I have a good that they're actually getting close or on the way or whatever, like they're supposed to be, I'll put up a list of the colors. These 10 colors will finish out the Terran and the Rock paint sets, and then that will leave. Then we'll do 2 more packs of 6. That'll be the Amethyl and Mercenary. We should have already had them, so we have it. I need to shake that tree. Yeah, especially because with the Reaper stuff, with their HD, which is now Bones, which I think is, I don't know, I think they're going to change the name again. We're not going to do the, whites and blacks and, stuff like that. There's a million of those already out there. We're just kind of trying to get some unique colors of our own. I think in this new set, there's a couple of new yellows. I think there's a real pale yellow, and then I was trying to think of what some others. There's some cool Terran OD colors and stuff in there. Yeah, the triads were the original MSP paints, which were not as thick, but I think that they're going to. They're all going to be Bones, all going to have the same consistency as the Bones paints. And then they'll just call them all MSP or whatever. There's some name change coming up, I think. All right, sports fans, that's going to do it for tonight. Thank you so much for being here. We'll be back next week. I'm hoping that maybe we can get a couple of our, they came in number 2 on Squidmar, and you knew that who Squidmar was going to pick as number 1. I mean, that's all their paint racks in the background. So that, obviously that one was kind of weighted to that direction. So. But no, it was nice that they, what was really good was from the fact that they had never used Reaper before. They weren't really aware of Reaper being where they are and everything, and harder to get in their area. And the fact that they went out and got the paints, and it came in number 2, I thought was pretty cool. But next week, hopefully we'll have a couple of the guys on here where we can kind of talk a little bit more. Maybe working on projects again. So we'll see. We'll get with everybody. So good night. You be safe too. Stay dry. And I'll send you guys that stuff here in just a minute, and I will talk to you later. Good night, folks.